Hello everybody, welcome back to another journaling video. It's been a while since I've showed my journal, so I thought today I would just come in hot and share the current setup that I've created for my new journal, which I started at the beginning of June. I waited a little bit to share this just because I kind of wanted to show you guys how it looked once I'd broken into the setup a little bit and started to fill things up so that you could get a better idea of the system. And today I just thought we would go through the journal together, and I'm going to chat a little bit about the changes I've made in this journal, and I'm going to do another video probably after this one going through the other notebooks that I've added to my journaling system for the rest of the year. So today we're just going to focus on this guy, but I am going to mention some other journals, which I will show later in that separate video. So as I mentioned, this is my new journal for the rest of 2023. This is a A6 Stalogy, and this notebook is the full year version, so it has 368, not 8 pages, and I have kind of a bunch of things around the notebook, but in its kind of bare form, this notebook. What are you doing? And I do have quite a few things around the notebook, but the main kind of journal itself is this Stalogy notebook. So I have the notebook itself, which is my bullet journal for the rest of the year. So this is kind of my main planner. I use this for writing down a lot of information that I want to keep track of. So it mostly has a very functional purpose in my life as essentially my second brain. And I keep a bunch of things in the notebook that I need to use on a daily basis. So a lot of these customizations I made just so that it's easier for me to grab my journal and just kind of have this whenever I need to use it, as well as my pencil case. So the first thing that I have around my journal on the outside is an elastic, just because I have a notebook on the front that I like to keep with me, so the elastic keeps them all together. And this notebook here is a Field Notes grid notebook that I have. It came in a pack of 3, and I just stuck a photo on the front, but this is what I call my good things journal. So I just use this to write down kind of cool, interesting highlights and other good things that I kind of see, and I just keep a running list of these things. It's, I guess, kind of like a gratitude journal, but it's just kind of cool to have a running list of that stuff, and I like to do this, and it's been really fun. So I keep that at the front with my journal so that I can add things whenever they come to mind or if I see something. So I keep that here, and then within the actual journal itself, I have a clip from Traveler's Factory just in case I need to hold some pages down. This makes it a lot easier. I have a pencil board from Hobonichi. This is the A6 pencil board from their spring 2023 collection. And then at the back, what I did was I stuck down a Leuchtturm 1917 pen loop in black, and I keep the pen that I use in my bullet journal here, which is my Uniball 1 gel pen, and I just use the body of this pen. I have the Sarasa Brown Gray refill as the actual ink inside of this. So mostly just things to help me write flat, and other kind of companion notebooks and pen loops just so that I can carry things around easily with me. I don't keep a cover on this journal just because I want this to be as durable as possible. I have 2 dogs in my house. One of them is a puppy, and she tends to eat a lot of stuff. So I've quickly learned through trial and error that having something that I can bring around the house that is not going to get dirty easily, can kind of be battered and still durable, is very important in my life right now. So just keeping things without a cover makes me feel a lot more relaxed bringing this around with me and throwing it in my bag and potentially having a dog try to eat it. So that's why I don't have a cover. However, on some of my other journals that I am using kind of beside this, I do keep covers on those because I don't bring them around the house as frequently. So I do still use covers, just not for this guy. That is kind of the workhorse of my system. Alrighty, so I think enough has been said about the outside. Let's go into the inside of the journal. And I'll just move these things aside for now. So the journal setup is a little different than my last bullet journal. Previously, I'd been trying this year to memory keep and bullet journal in one notebook. And I just found that for me, the two functions don't really mesh well together. I need to kind of write everything down to remember it. If I don't write something down, I usually won't remember to do it. And my bullet journal has always been really important for that kind of task listing and rapid logging. And previously, when I'd been keeping my journal as a memory keeping kind of book, I was not as good at writing down things because I kind of wanted to focus on those main events and main items of the day. And I found that was great for memory keeping, but it made the bullet journal part of my notebook less effective, and it was starting to feel like not a good system. So I decided with this bullet journal that I was just going to focus on using it for kind of planning and collecting information and really just using it as my second brain. And then I set up a separate notebook for daily journaling where I would be a bit more focused on writing about my day and also putting in photos because they were starting to chunk up my journal and it was becoming kind of difficult to deal with that. So I removed that from my bullet journal so that I didn't have to worry about the difficulty of the writing experience any longer. So because I went back to kind of the non-memory keeping version of bullet journaling, I also kind of reverted my system to be a little closer to the bullet journal method, although there are still things that I do in this book that are quite a deviance from the method, and I'll point those out. So I just have a couple pages at the front because I'm deciding whether or not I want to add an index to this book. So I thought I would leave a couple pages just in case. This is my future log. So I've set this up a little differently because even though I use my bullet journal for tracking events and tasks, I do still use a Google Calendar because I just find it's a little more effective for recording those future events, especially when they can change. So what I'm using this future log as is more just kind of an overview of the months so that I can see kind of big events that are coming up, kind of main things that are happening, just so I can get that overview. And for specific dates, I will write that down, or I guess type that out in my Google Calendar. So I just have 4 months of the year on these 2 pages, and for each month I have the week of the year that falls under the month. So I have the kind of week numbers, so 30 through 34 out of 52 weeks fall in August, so they're kind of grouped like that. And then I had a bit of space at the bottom, so I thought it would be cool to write down the season that we're in that month. So mostly just kind of high level things here and very simple setup. I have, let's see, May through December in here because I was able to fit 8 months, and also I will be starting a new book at the beginning of 2024. So super simple, just pen and pencil only for the future log, and you'll probably notice for the rest of the spreads, they are, I think, all pen and pencil because I wanted to really simplify this setup and make it super easy to create. So yeah, these are all the starting pages I have. I just have the future log at the front. I've never really been a big fan of setting up a bunch of collections at the front of my journal because I kind of figure if I need something, I'll just kind of set it up along the way once I need it. And then that makes things a lot easier for me. So after the future log, I just go straight into my first month. I still really like this kind of traditional looking calendar. So instead of setting up a vertical monthly log, like the bullet journal method, I did decide to set up this more traditional calendar just because I really like how visually it displays things in the month. So I can see kind of where things fall on a more kind of spatial view. And also I really like using this layout to record books I read and TV shows I watch. I usually do that on the bottom here. And I also like to have a bit of fun on this spread. I like to decorate and try to use some stickers so that I'm kind of having a little bit of creativity in my bullet journal. So I did still stick with this monthly layout. The big difference here that is not the same as my previous setup is I am now setting up my months as they come. So I've just set up June here. I have the calendar as my first spread, and then I have my task list and kind of my habits and projects, and this is kind of just the main dashboard for the month here. And then right after that I go into my daily logs, and the plan is to set up these months as the months come around. So kind of going back to that bullet journal approach of just setting up the month as they come instead of setting up a bunch of calendars at the beginning of the journal. And part of the reason why I decided to do that is because I found it a lot, I found it to be a lot of time and effort to set up all these spreads at the beginning of the book and then not have anything to do for the rest of the book. And then essentially I wouldn't have the activity of setting these up at the beginning of the month, which essentially created opportunity for boredom in my system. So because I didn't have this to do at the beginning of the month and have that kind of new activity to keep things interesting, I found that I was starting to get a bit bored with my journal. And also it's kind of nice setting these up as the month comes, because then I have a bit more flexibility to add as many pages as I need for the month based on the different daily logs I'm adding, as well as if I'm adding any notes. So yeah, just 1 month at the beginning here for June. This dashboard is where I keep tasks on the right. I do an Alistair method list, so I have 1 week for each month in a column here so I can plan out my tasks. And then on the left side I have 2 kind of habits that I really like to keep track of and keep front of mind because I do work from a computer, so moving and getting outside is very, very key. And at the bottom here I had some extra room, so I just like to keep a running list of different projects that I'm working on so I can see what kind of things I was doing during the month. So right after that I just have my daily logs. I've always liked doing a day per page for my daily logs. I don't know. I know some people really like just kind of setting them up one after the other. I just find a day per page works better for me. And what I've been doing in this journal, again, just trying to kind of add some fun here and there to decrease the opportunities for boredom, is I am adding a sticker on the Sunday of each week so that I have a kind of visual divider of when each week ends throughout the month. And this is a PET tape by Peon, and I tend to use these a lot in my journal. I also am adding notes right in with my daily logs. I am trying it out. I'm curious to see if I like it or not, because previously I put all my notes at the back of my journal, and what I'm also trying with these notes is I am using sticky tabs to mark the note so they're a bit easier to reference, and also I'm using different colored tabs depending on the topic of the note so that I can have a categorization model for the different notes that I record. So I have blue here because this is a note from my design work, and then if I flip to the back here, originally I was thinking of putting my notes in the back, so this is why this is like in a weird halfway spot in my journal, but this is some notes on a game that I'm playing right now. So it has the green sticky note because this is kind of like a hobbies section. So green for hobbies, blue for work. I haven't figured out the exact sticky note code as of yet, but I will keep you updated once I figure that out. So I just have the note here, and then I keep going directly into my daily logs. And this is the current day that we're on, so I just have my page marker here on the right so that it's really easy to jump to the page. And then, as you can see, besides this odd note page here, the rest of the book is blank, and I'm just gonna fill this up as I use it. And I think that's pretty much it. In terms of the signifiers I use, that's very much the same as the bullet journal method. I use a dot for a task, a circle for an event, and a dash for a note. I will fill in the circle when the event is done, and I will fully cross out the task when it's completed. If it's partially completed, I just do one cross to show that it's been started, but it's not finished. And those are the main ones I tend to use. So, yeah, that is pretty much it in terms of the setup. Very, very simple, but I thought I would show you guys how it's looking right now so you can see how it's kind of filling up. It's really simple, and I'm finding that it's been really great to just kind of brain dump in this in the morning and get all my tasks out in the open so I know exactly what I'm doing in the day. So it's been really great for that. And I'll probably maybe do some videos showing how I set up the month so you can see how I fill this out and do the calendar and all that. But for now, I hope you enjoyed seeing the current setup for my new bullet journal for the rest of 2023. And let me know what you are using for the rest of the year. Is it a bullet journal? Is it a planner? Let me know below. And besides that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake this